Shalom. In the name of YHWH, honor and praises to Yahweh. Up there, the God of Israel, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. After that, I want to give honor to all those that labor, that pushing these commandments out, and it's true. I'm saying that, let's get straight into it. Let's open up the book of let's go straight to the book of Jeremiah, the 5th chapter, verse 21. Hear now this, O foolish people. What? Hear now this, O foolish people, and without understanding. And without understanding, you become foolish. Okay? In what you're saying, in your ideology, okay? In your philosophy. Okay? Without understanding, you're a fool. Because you don't understand what you're talking about. All right? I had a conversation this morning with somebody about socialism, right? And I'm like, well, we talking about socialism. I'm telling him that socialism is a system, but it's built based off slavery, you know, and it's not good, okay? But he telling me that, yo, no, socialism this, socialism that, and his definition, okay? And I'm like, I don't want your definition of socialism, okay? But the point of the conversation was that he didn't understand the terminologies that these politicians use. He didn't understand the levels of government. Okay, he don't know what bureaucracy means. He don't know what Democrat means and what democracy means. Because see, a lot of people base their knowledge on CNN and MSNBC, which those are Democratic KKK media outlets. Okay, Fox News is owned by Illuminati too. You understand? So all these people are together. You understand? Let's read that again. Jeremiah, chapter 5, verse 21. Hear now this, so foolish people and without understanding, which have eyes and see not, which have ears and hear not. Meaning that y'all see what these politicians is doing, but you don't understand what you're looking at. You hear what these politicians are saying, but you don't understand the terminology and the language that they use to promote their agenda. Okay? Because you lack that understanding. Alright? So therefore, you all are foolish in y'all protests. Y'all foolish in y'all movements. Because y'all don't understand the agenda behind these movements. Okay? I told somebody earlier that Black Lives Matter is a political organization that's funded by a bunch of white liberals. Okay? BLM or Black Lives Matter does not help black people. And what part of that y'all don't understand? Only time you see BLM is when a white man and a black man get involved. Okay? See that Me Too movement, these transgender movements. Okay, y'all need to understand what y'all protesting about and what do y'all want. Okay, and vote. Alright? Because y'all don't understand. That's an example when Christ was on the tree with the two other people that were crucified with him. What he say? Forgive them. They don't know what they do. Y'all didn't understand the nature of y'all ideology and y'all philosophy. Okay? It is what it is, and y'all have no understanding because see, you got to understand. Socialism is anti-God, and socialism is another form of slavery. Okay? Understand, socialism is a political economic system that extol and commune ownership and confiscation, of private property. Meaning that extol and commune ownership, right? Meaning that extol means proud. Okay? See, they proud about their policies because the American people and the politicians, y'all commune with their policies and agenda. Okay? See, so what happened is that they proud to speak about transparency. They proud to speak about equality and equal justice, when in fact there is no equal justice. Why? Because despite of what you hear in the media, in the media, you still have black code laws in place to this day. Okay? And those conditions create an environment that America is a racist country. All right? Understand, okay? See, so socialism is a political economic system that extol and communal ownership, and they be happy that you supported their legislation. Why? So they can turn around and take everything that you have legally, and there is nothing that you can do about it. Why? Because you voted and you supported for legislations that's anti-God and that's slavery. Okay? It is what it is. All right, and this is what y'all have to understand that. Okay, socialism is anti-God because it violates the commandments. Okay, it's in direct violation of the commandment. All right. Matter of fact, let's get that. Let's get that. Let's go into the commandments. Let's go into Exodus, the 20th chapter, verse 17. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass. Now, when it says ox and ass, they're talking about animals, but that's symbolism. Because today, in modern time, through technology, we have automobiles, transportations. Okay, so that's basically symbolic for transportation. Because see, back then, in the biblical days, they didn't have cars. All right, they had horses and animals that they rode on. Okay, nor anything that is of thy neighbors. And to covet is to basically to want something, want what somebody else has. Okay, and the government is covenants. Okay, and the government covenants is addressed it up politically as redistribution and child poverty. Okay, see that redistribution and child poverty is their agenda. Okay, and that agenda is covenants. All right, it is what it is. Let's get Micah. Let's go into the book of Micah. Micah, 2nd chapter, verse 2. And they covet fields. What? And they covet fields and take them by violence. And when they covet fields, meaning that these politicians, these progressive, they hate capitalism. Okay? They hate capitalism. All right? It is what it is. Let's read that again. And they covet fields. Why? Because see, capitalism is capitalism is divine. It's a divine institution of slavery, right? But they hate capitalism because capitalism is basically production and ownership of private. You owning your own businesses. Put it that much, okay? Production and means and operation for profit, pretty much, okay? And they don't like. See, America don't like when you have your own businesses. They don't like when you have a chain of stores, when you have property, when you have houses, okay? They don't like that, okay? They hate freedom. And that's what y'all need to understand, because in their legislation, it tells you that. In their agenda, they tell you that. Okay? Why you think the food chain supply chain is fucked up right now? Okay? Because when Joe Biden got in office, what happened? He put policies in place to where the shelves in the grocery stores are short. Okay? They're talking about the gas prices. The gas prices is high. Why? And Jim Psaki be lying. Because she say what? They got 9 permits that ain't used, right? Yet the oil company can't use those permits. Why they cannot? It's because the regulations by the Biden administration that's in place. So they can't drill, okay? But the permits are still available. But they can't drill through legislations and policies, okay? See, so y'all have to understand the game and what is being played. But y'all don't understand that. Let's read that again. And they covet fields and take them by violence. And when they take them by violence, there's those legislations and those policies that's in place. Okay, see, when you go back into history, you're going to understand that when the Democratic Party formed, and became a Democratic Party. Before that, they were independents, okay? But in the late 1800s, early 1900s, after what's his name, President Garfield, when he died, that's when the Democratic Party formed, okay? The Democratic Party put up the Jim Crow laws, and they took down the first Civil Rights Bill of 1870 that was put up by the Black Congress. Because you have to understand, blacks are Republicans. America was founded on black people, okay? America's governmental system was funded on black people before 1776 and 1788, all right? You got to understand this. The Constitution in America was already established, because the first black president of America is John Hanson. When you go on Google him, you're going to see a white man, right? But then when you keep going down and you keep going down, and when you stroll, you're going to see a black man. Okay, see, it's a lot of parts of history that they don't want to tell you. Okay? And so when they took the houses by violence, it's basically that what led up to the civil rights movement. Because see, when they put up the Jim Crow laws, they put up bank regulations. Okay? And those bank regulations confiscated houses and property from the slaves. Why? Because see, when Abraham Lincoln was assassinated in 1865, his general named Williams, start with a T, where he ordered Congress to give to confiscate all the land and houses from the slave owners and give them to the slaves. And to this day, we don't have respiration. Okay, and we're not going to get 40 acres and a mule. Why? Because see, Andrew Jackson in the Democratic Party, he vetoed the 40 acres and a mule. So you niggas ain't gonna never get 40 acres and a mule. Why? Because the Democratic Party are the KKK. They are the party that the scripture speaks about. Okay, they are the party that rule over us. All right, and these are fucking devils. All right, understand that. Let's read that. Let's go back. Micah, chapter 2, verse 2. And they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man in his house, even a man in his heritage. Meaning that through their policies and regulations, you stay depressed. That's why drugs and alcohol abuse is heavy into the black minority community. Okay, through the policies and regulations. But you all don't understand that, because y'all don't have the eyes to see, nor the ears to hear and understand what these politicians is telling you. Okay, let's go to Isaiah, the 10th chapter. Isaiah chapter 10, verse 1. Woe unto them. Now when it says woe, it's talking about destruction. Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that write grievousness which they have prescribed. And through their legislations and policy is this grievance, because it leads to drugs and alcohol. It leads to depression. Okay, you got capital gains tax, you got taxes, you got regulations in place. Okay, it's hard to get a job because of the system and how it's set up and designed. All right, see, so life is basically hard, especially in America. All right, and they grievance because every day a lot of people cry. They may not show it, but they cry through their actions and their attitude. Okay, it is what it is. To turn aside the needy from judgment, and to take away the right from the poor of my people, that widows may be their prey, and that they may rob the fatherless. Meaning that during this pandemic, what happened? Andrew Cuomo in California, and I think in Minnesota, Governor Whitaker or something, her name, right? But what happened was that they ordered all them COVID patients into nursing homes. And in the state of New York, Andrew Cuomo killed like 18,000 elders. And he got an award for that shit. Okay, because see, when Donald Trump was in office, Donald Trump sent Red Cross ships into the harbors of New York City for the COVID patients. But because Donald Trump is a Republican and he represents democracy, and Andrew Cuomo is a KKK Democrat bureaucrat, they hate each other. So for political points and for political profits and for power, what he did was order all those COVID people into them nursing homes in the state of New York. Right now, they all died. So now, once you die, you gotta pay to be born and you gotta pay to be buried. Right now, once you die and you have no inheritance or nothing to leave your family with, what happens is that property becomes now the state, because the state take ownership. Okay, Governor Newsom did that with the small businesses. Okay, what happened was that the whole California shutdown was to take away small businesses. So you won't exercise capitalism because it's all about control. Okay, and they hate capitalism. So why you think they had all these damn lockdowns? Okay, because they hate freedom. All right, because see, understand, these politicians, they are institutionalists people. Okay, they believe in institutions. Like the dude that I was talking with earlier about socialism. See, he confused because he lacked knowledge of political knowledge. See, he lacked political knowledge, so he confusing what he be talking about. Because see, you can't listen to CNN, MSNBC, and podcasts, right? Because see, a lot of those podcasts and those media outlets is biased. You have CNN, which is heavily Democratic, and you got Fox, which is basically more conservative. Okay, and the independents like TYT and the Rising, they all are biased. Okay, because see, the independents today are progressives, but if they was to vote, they'll vote for a Democrat. Why? Because America have a two-party system, a Republican and a Democrat. Because the Democrat runs off democracy. Because see, democracy was give them the power. The majority of the people give them power. Y'all better understand. Okay, and then they rob the fatherless. All right, it is what it is. Let me get Proverbs 22nd chapter, verse 16. He that oppressed the poor to increase his riches, and he that giveth to the rich shall surely come to want. And the politicians do oppress us through their policies and regulations. Okay, inflation is high, food is high, gas is high. Okay, but this is what you all voted for. But y'all don't understand what y'all was voting for until y'all experience it. Okay, now y'all seeing on first hand of how socialism works. Because when you ask those people that left the South America to come to America and ask them about a socialist country, because when you watch that show Turning Point, and you have a lot of people, and I think it's another show, Ben Shapiro, right? Because he's a Jew, and on his shows, and these people be talking about socialism, because see, the whole root cause of the migration to America in the Southern Triangle is those policies that have been implemented in that socialism. Because see, socialism is slavery, okay? And socialism is that one world governmental system that's going to rule and that's going to stand before his return, all right? Because their policies are slavery. Let's read that again. Proverbs chapter 22, verse 16. He that oppresseth the poor to increase his riches, and he that giveth to the rich shall surely come to want. Meaning that we already in want, okay? As soon as the government say we're going to send out a stimulus, everybody sign up for that stimulus. Everybody want that free money. Why? Because everything that we make goes back to the government. And taxes, okay? You got rent, you got bills, you got, come on, you got taxes upon taxes, okay? It is what it is. So basically, if you got money, you don't want for nothing. And a lot of people that protesting in the streets today are people that support because they don't have nothing. So they want something. All right? It is what it is, okay? Let's go down to verse 22. Rob not the poor because he is poor. And what they do, they rob the poor anyway. Taxes, sales tax, capital gains tax, in your check. You got the federal, you got FICA, you got Medicaid, and you got any other people that take money out your check before you get it. Okay? Understand what this is about. Okay? Understand that, see, socialism is a form of slavery, and y'all don't want that. Okay? But we're going to get a taste into the scriptures of what socialism is like. Okay? Because history repeats itself. So let's go into the book of Samuel, the 1st Samuel, the 8th chapter. Let's start at verse 1. And it came to pass when Samuel was old, that he made his sons judges over Israel. Now let's go down to verse 3. And his sons walked not in his ways, but turned aside after lucre, and took bribes, and perverted judgment. Meaning that they was totally corrupt all the way around. Okay? Verse 4. Then all the elders of Israel gathered themselves together. Now when it says all of Israel gathered themselves together, now that is what you call democracy. The majority rule. Okay? See, so democracy. So they came together. The majority of people ruled and asked Samuel for a king, somebody to judge over them. Okay? I don't want to get ahead of the lesson, okay? Verse 4, then all the elders of Israel gathered themselves together and came unto Samuel unto Ramah, and said unto him, behold, thou art old, and thy sons walking not in thy ways. Now make us a king to judge us like all nations. See, and that's how so-called African Americans and minority is to this day. Okay, see, we don't want Yahweh, and we don't want the commandments. What we want and what y'all want is Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Y'all want these devils to tell y'all what to do. Y'all want these devils to control y'all. Okay, y'all don't want the commandments. Okay, y'all don't want Yahweh. Okay, because when we Israelites bring y'all that word, the first thing y'all do, fuck that. That's bullshit, right? But I tell you what, ain't no white man coming out of the sky, because the scriptures are already fulfilled. Okay? Ain't no white man coming out of the sky to save you, and you're going to have another chance for the gospel. You better go and understand what Christ was talking about. All right? It is what it is. Okay? Verse 6. But the thing displeased Samuel. And when he said, give us a king to judge us. And Samuel prayed unto the Lord. And the Lord said unto Samuel, hearken unto the voice of thy people, and all that they say unto thee. For they have not rejected thee, but they have rejected me, that I should not reign over them. And when they rejected Yahweh, meaning that they rejected commandments. Because see, once the commandments come to you and you say, fuck that, you reject God. Because God is the commandments. Okay? That's life. Okay? It is what it is. Verse 8, according to all the works which they have done, since the day that I brought them up out of Egypt, even unto this day, wherewith they have forsaken me, and served of the gods, so do they also unto thee. And they have forsaken Yahweh, because nobody ain't talking about the commandments. Everybody talking about Buddhists. Everybody talking about Judaism. Nobody not calling on the name of Yahweh. Okay, everybody talking about Marxism, talking about racism, and all the philosophical views and ideology of the world. This was popping. All right, this is what popping. Okay, understand. Okay, it is what it is. Okay, verse 9. Now therefore hearken unto their voice, howbeit yet protest solely unto them, and show them the manner of the king that shall reign over them. And Samuel told the words of the Lord Yahweh unto the people that asked of him a king. See, so the majority of the people wanted a king, somebody to judge them like other nations, right? So that's democracy. And he said, this will be the manner of your king that shall reign over you. He will take your sons and appoint them for himself, for his chariots, and to be his horsemen, and some shall run before his chariots. Meaning that some of them that don't wanna, they're gonna rebel against his commandments and his laws and his policies. He gonna kill them. Y'all running for the horse and have the horses run their ass down. Okay? It is what it is, all right? So they're going to take your sons and daughters, all right? And for himself, that meaning that if he want to fuck her, if he want to touch her, he going to touch her. And there is nothing that you can do about it, okay? It is because you voted through democracy, you voted for this, okay? Verse 12. And he will appoint him captains over thousands and captains over 50, and will set them to the ear his ground, and to reap his harvest, and to make his instruments of war and instruments of his chariots. Meaning that not so much with guns, he's talking about, but the ear to the streets. when you have your small businesses, you making money, okay? Because you have state and local government. Now these state and local governments are affiliated with the federal government because see, you have Democrats and Republicans in the lower levels of government, and in the medium levels of government, and the higher positions of government. But yet they all Democrats, they all Republicans. Okay, see, so those city councils and the city mayors that's Democrat or Republican, they're going to enforce these policies. Okay, it is what it is. All right. So now they can use that to go to war against you and use whatever you have against you. Okay, because if you have a small businesses, they're going to take that and say you're being racist. You're not paying everybody equal pay, so we're going to take your business. Okay, it is what it is. Verse 13. And he will take your daughters to be confectionaries, to be cooks, and to be bakers. Right? And you see that now. You see a lot of women into the restaurant business. You see a lot of people you see a lot of women now having shows, you know what I mean, having their own businesses. Okay, it is what it is. And he will take your fields and your vineyards and your olive yards, even the best of them, and give them to his servants. And he shall take the tenth of your seed of your vineyards and give them to his officers and to his servants. And he will take your men servants and your maid servants and your prettiest young men and your asses and put them to work. Meaning that he's gonna take everything and your whole family gonna slave for him. Okay? But y'all voted for this. Through democracy, y'all wanted somebody to rule over y'all. Instead of the commandments, y'all got a philosophical governance system, communism, socialism, bureaucracy, and Marxism. Them are all institutions of human rule slavery. Okay, it is what it is. Verse 17, he will take the tenth of your sheep, and ye shall be his servants. And ye shall cry out in that day, because the king which ye shall have chosen you, and the Lord will not hear you in that day. Because why? America is going to be reduced. America is going to be reduced to another third world country through socialism, and you can see that happening now. Because the more money you print, the inflation goes up. The supply chain is fucked up. Okay, see, the whole goal is to destroy America from within. Okay, because Napoleon said you can't attack America from the outside. You have to attack America from the inside. And so they doing that with the movements and the politicians, the progressives. Okay, it is what it is. Okay, and he's not going to hear you on that day. Okay, let me get Malachi. Let's go into the book Malachi. Oh, I'm in Malachi. But he's not he's not going to hear you on that day. Oh, Shalaki, let's go to Shalaki, my fault. Let's go to Isaiah 65. Shalaki, my fault. 65. Isaiah 65 verse 13. Therefore thus saith the Lord Yahweh God, behold, my servant shall eat, but ye shall be hungry. Behold, my servant shall drink, but ye shall be thirsty. Behold, my servant shall rejoice, but ye shall be ashamed. Behold, my servant shall sing for joy of heart, but ye shall cry for sorrow of heart, and shall have vexation of the spirit. Why? Because Marxism, socialism, and all these movements didn't save you. Because when America goes into an economic, religious system, okay, how you going to eat? Okay, you don't have food stocked and saved up. So how you going to eat? Y'all better understand the nature of what y'all protesting and voting for. So y'all need to go on ahead, you know what I'm saying, to learn your candidates and understand what they talking about. Okay, let's hit Nehemiah right quick. Chapter 5, verse 1. And there was a great cry of people and of their wives against their brethren and Jews. And a lot of y'all crying to this day. Y'all whining and crying because now y'all upset that Joe Biden didn't give y'all what y'all want. He ain't do nothing for black people. The only thing that he do it for people was for the other nations and for transsexuals. Okay, Agenda Day. Get the fuck out of here. All right. For For there were that said, our sons and our daughters are many. Therefore we take up corn for them, that we may eat and live. Some also there were that said, we have mortgaged our lands, vineyards, and houses, that we might buy corn because of the dirt. And that dirt, it means it's a small drop. And to this day, in this pandemic, you had a dirt. The supply chain on the grocery stores is falling apart, emptiness. Okay, you had your lockdowns and small businesses that went belly up. Okay, it is what it is, all right? Understand. Okay, verse 4. There were also that said, we have borrowed money for the king's tribute, and that upon our lands and vineyards. Meaning that they took out loans and grants. To this day, y'all take out loans and grants during this pandemic so that you can be able to pay your mortgage and you can be able to buy food and stuff like that during this lockdown. But see, what happened is that all that money that you borrowed from the government, they're going to take that shit back. Okay, and they're going to take it back through their policies and regulations. Okay, that you supported and that you voted for. Okay, it is what it is. Y'all voted for it. Verse 5. Yet now our flesh is as the flesh of our brethren, our children as their children. Meaning that my kids, it's like Joe Biden kids, and it's like Kamala Harris kids, and like Nancy Pelosi grandkids, right? They all are kids, right? And lo, we bring into bondage our own sons and daughters to be servants, and some of our daughters are brought unto bondage already. Neither is it in our power to redeem them. Why? Because you voted and you supported for them to take your sons and your daughters into slavery. And that's what socialism is, slavery. Communism is slavery. When you go to China, what happened? China enslaving their own people. Russia enslaving their own people. Okay? Understand that the other nations enslave their own people. But the so-called African American minority, we don't want the commandments. We don't want Yahweh to rule over us. We don't want capitalism. What we want and what y'all really want is the government to tell y'all what the fuck to do. Tell y'all when to eat, what to wear, and what to say. Because they doing that right now through regulations of speech. Okay, y'all better understand this game and what this political game is about. Because this is basically about God's prophecy. His covenant, Esau and Jacob. Okay? It is what it is. See, so that is slavery. And understand that socialism is slavery. Okay, that's why it's important to learn and understand your candidates and their agenda. Because their agenda is a violation of the commandments. Okay, that transgender movement, none of that. Okay, and he's not going to hear you on that day. Let me see if I can get that. And that's why you see the politicians and progressives, that's why you see the Democrats, bureaucrats in China and Russia. You see how America politicians defend these people. Why do they defend these people? It's because they all are together. You understand me? Joe Biden made a way for Russia to invade Ukraine. Okay? Now, once Ukraine folded, starting to fold and want to come to peace with Putin, America don't like that because America want to see Ukraine get taken because Ukraine is corrupt. Ukraine is corrupt. Hunter Biden laptop and all that shit. Okay, bribes, and Ukraine is the world heavy into human sex trafficking. Okay, it is what it is. All right, and these people are all together, the Chinese and all of them. Okay, Malachi chapter 1 verse 2, Shalaki verse 3. And I hated Esau, and he hated Esau because it was written in the beginning in the book of Genesis. Okay, so that was spoken. Let's read that again. I hated Esau and laid his mountains, and his mountains is what you call levels of government. Okay, that stone, that smoke, that image. Okay, talking about democracy, those levels of government. And his heritage waits for the dragons of the wilderness. And the dragons of the wilderness are the Chinese and are the Arabs now. Okay, they are the dragons of the dirt. Okay, the Chinese are children of the dragon. All right, and we're going to get into these things, okay? Because y'all need to know and understand what this is about. Because see, y'all protesting and supporting these policies and politicians, but you don't understand what they game is about and the end game. Okay, because this is all about the end game. Okay, well, my time is up. Shalom. I'm gonna catch you on the next one.